Sesha Woodard is a scientist and licensed dancer with over 25 years of experience. She helps the next generation reach academic success all through art integration, movement, and dance. She started Dropping Seeds in Motion with a purpose to propel youth educationally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually. Sesha brings dynamic science through movement and dance based programs and professional development to schools, universities, daycare centers, youth groups, and more. Hi, Sesha. So tell viewers about Dropping Seeds in Motion.
Well, thank you, Shanika, for having me. So dropping season in motion, what we do is we actually get kids excited about science. We teach science through art integration. And so we use movement, we use dance, and we use music to do that. And so as a scientist myself with a love for learning about science, I wanted to get kids excited about learning science as well. So we offer workshops, programs, professional development to actually get kids excited about science, learn it, and actually retain it, and also help teachers and educators learn it as well.
So why do you mentioned movement, dance, art, music within lessons and within the classroom? Why do you think it needs to be prioritized today and post pandemic?
Good question. So I'm going to ask a probing question. So think about your favorite teacher that you had from school. I've asked this question to so many different people, to so many different educators, and their response is always that teacher that made it fun,
Absolutely.
that teacher that engaged them, that teacher that like thought outside of the box, let alone actually, you know what, removed the box from learning. And so when you think about your traditional ways of learning and engaging students, every child, every student learns differently. So you need to make sure that we're implementing these new different approaches to learning to help them succeed.
So in thinking about helping them succeed, we all know that STEM is obviously a part of science, or science is a part of STEM. And so when we think about populations that aren't represented or that are typically marginalized or underrepresented, all those buzzwords that we hear a lot, how do we then begin to address them using movement, dance, art, music, and all of those things?
So I think it's really important to meet your students where they are. Creating an inclusive environment where you are touching all the ethnicities that you're working with. If you have people from different backgrounds, people with developmental disabilities, there are ways that you can actually include them into the learning process. It might take a little time, a little bit of research, a little bit more effort, but it's definitely worth it because you want to make sure that people feel like they belong.
So, Sasha, tell us, how do we make movement, dance, all of those things? How do we add them into our classrooms, into our out of school time programs without it being another thing? Since the pandemic has happened, we've noticed that there's 150 things now on our plates to think about, to do, and adding one more thing feels like another thing. So how do we begin to make it feel like it's natural, like it's supposed to happen in our classrooms and out of school time programs?
Mhm. Yeah. So one of the things that you said, Shanika, was how do you make it feel like natural, like it's supposed to happen? And so one of the things I share with a lot of educators that I work with and teachers is that the students are busting at the seams, ready to make something their own. And so, as an example, if you have content that your students need to learn, so say you're doing a study session or some kind of tutoring, if there's a science concept that they're trying to figure out, encourage them to actually get up and actually move to what it is that they are learning. Put on some music, and keeping in the realm of making it inclusive. If you have students who have disabilities, while it may not look like I'm moving now, but I'm moving. My diaphragm is going in and out. My mouth is moving. My fingers are moving. So there's so many different things that you could do to encourage your students that you work with. And as I mentioned, making it natural. Find out what it is that they like to do, how they like to move. Watch them. I do that a lot as well. I watch the students and say, oh, okay, I could use that to teach the solar system or photosynthesis or something of that nature. But our bodies are constantly moving, even when it comes to blinking, right? So if you have students who are may have some challenges with disabilities, if they need to spell photosynthesis and blink at the same time, because rhythm and beat is also a part of a foundation of learning. So spell photosynthesis, photosynthesis, right? And it may seem kind of weird, kind of wonky, but it's fun, right? It's something outside of this is what it is. This is the word, this is a definition, right? We need to just get creative and don't be ashamed to be silly with your students as well, because you'll find that it will create an even greater camaraderie with your students. So meet them where they are, take something very, very small and just get creative with it.
And so thinking about taking something small and making it fun, right? And all of that, like that you just mentioned, how do we then as educators, because you're a former educator and a scientist, how do we then garner long-term interest in STEM? So let's say I taught middle school. So in my middle school classroom, beyond what they've done in my classroom, beyond the middle school, right? How do we garner long-term interest with what Dropping Seeds in Motion does?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's a really good question. And I think that it can't be a one and done. It has to be something that is implemented over a consistent period of time. I think that we need to ask our students and ask our kids questions. Ask them, what are they interested in? Pay attention to, what they're interested in. Pay attention to, what they're looking up on social media. That might be a good thing to be able to monitor some things as well. But really pay attention to them. And one of the things that I think is important is to make sure that they know that you have a vested interest. So a lot of times when I share about the name of my company, Dropping Seeds in Motion, I think it's about gardening. It's not about gardening, but for me, it stemmed from I'll just share real quickly, a traumatic experience that I had in pre-K when I was playing Twister and I didn't know my left from my right at the time. And the teacher yelled at me. She yelled at me to the point where I was in tears because I was learning. Here I am, a pre-K student, trying to learn my left from my right and enjoy and have fun, enjoy the game. And she yelled at me. And so part of the Dropping Seeds is about being intentional about the seeds that we drop. It could be a smile. Be intentional about your approach to educating children, and notice and recognizing that every child is different. We need to be mindful. We all have bad days, but at the same time, when we come in the presence of our students, we need to bring our A game because it's not their fault. I'm related to what happened the day before. So being intentional about making sure that we bring our A game, focusing on what the students really like, and finding opportunities to expose them to different ways of learning, just like what I do, using the movement, the dance, and even art. We have done some programming with art. I have someone I work with we did art and forensic science. It's just let them create it as well. They have so much in them that needs to come out. So just being mindful of keeping a pulse on that.
That was perfect. That really was, because I think about my experience as a student as well as a teacher and how that shaped who I am, even when I approach education. Because I'm all about having fun. I taught social studies, which is often looked at as boring. So you have to amp it up.
Right, amp it up. Look, that could be a dance. Like you talk about the different hemispheres. Like you got the or it could be even like geography. Look, just like that, I just got something like
yeah.
Amp it up. Even northwest, north,
south, east,
east,
west,
and north. and south and east. And, I mean, just like that, you just
Yeah.
thought about something, right? A dance, add movement, and you can add different layers to that. You can break your students up into groups and say, okay, take this movement and tell me about, use that movement, add different movements, and pull some more vocabulary words into that, and just make it come alive, right? There's so much you can do. And at what point in life did we figure out or determine that learning had to be boring? It does not have to be
That's
boring.
a great question.
Sit down, watch this, do this.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be boring, and we need to purpose to make it fun. And that's a part of the mission that I have.
How can we collaborate? And I say we as in out of school time professionals, educators, principals, districts, whomever's watching this, how can we connect with Dropping Seeds in Motion so that we can make, one, learning fun for our students, two, we can train our staff to incorporate movement and do all those great things that you've mentioned, even the hemispheres, because now I'm gonna have to use that the next time I'm in front of some kids.
Together, right? Okay, so you know what? I love going to the beach. And when I go to the beach, I stand on the sand and I dig my feet in the sand. And when I look out into the ocean, you cannot see where the ocean stops, right? And that's just like amazing. And so when you talk about different opportunities to collaborate, like it's endless. And realizing that every school district is different, every classroom is different, every teacher is different, every student is different, every way they learn is different. There's so many ways that we can collaborate in creating sort of like a curriculum or content strictly based upon what you need. I have really enjoyed working with Synergy at the Synergy conference, partnering with NCAP, offering lesson plans for your community. In fact, that is being able to collaborate is probably one of the things I really enjoy because our reach can go further. We can touch more students, more teachers, more educators, more after school program directors, and get this word out. And really, what I'm really passionate about is giving people the tools and the strategies, the teachers and educators strategies, practical. Like, you don't have to be a rocket science. You don't need to know how to dance. It's okay. If you are moving, if you are breathing, you can do it. And so being able to partner and collaborate, like I say, it's like that ocean. It's just like endless, right? If you got an idea or a thought, we can rock with it, we can roll with it, and then you'll be surprised how just a thought, just like you showed me about the movement in social studies and the different hemispheres and north and south and east and west. You take a thought and something can be birthed from it. And then that's something, it can be catered for your specific need for your students to help them at the end of the day, to help them retain what they're learning, to keep them engaged, keep them interested in STEM, because science, tech, engineering, math, and even that art part, they're all related. And at the end of the day, there's thousands and thousands of studies that show that there is a correlation between increased test scores and including movement within the learning environment. So if that's not a win-win for everybody in every district and every teacher and educator, I don't know what it is.
Thank you so much, Sesha. We are so thankful for you, and we love partnering with Sesha. So if you haven't, please reach out to Sesha and the Dropping Seeds in Motion team, because they are amazing. We love having her at every Synergy conference, and we love having her speak anytime like we do. And don't forget to check out the recreational science lesson, which NCCAP and Dropping Seeds in Motion collaborated on. Dropping Seeds in Motion promotes a dynamic learning experience for youth of all ages. Dropping Seeds in Motion uses the art of dance and movement to engage students in science. To learn more about Dropping Seeds in Motion and their programmatic offerings, please visit www.droppingseedsinmotion.com. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more videos like this and others that we know you'll enjoy. Do you have an idea for a STEMinar or a webinar that you would love to see NCCAP cover? Well, comment below or check out our website at www.ncafterschool.org.